All right, we are on day 1. This is a part 1 video that you can pause as you need to and come back to. There will be a part 2 video that you can watch on day 2, okay? Today you need to have a lot of prep work done. I've already done some of my prep work right here. I've got all 3 of my articles opened. They were marked previously. And I also have my I have my outline open. I called it the wrong thing in the last video, oops. And then this is my new draft. I have a blank document open to write my draft on. The other thing you might want to open are these. These are ways that you're going to introduce your evidence and then hooks. So if you don't already have them open, here's what you're going to do. If they accidentally open up in your screen, this is how you keep that from happening. Right-click on top of it, open in a new tab. Right-click on top of it, open in a new tab. Now that you have new tabs for them, and I like that better. Here are a list of ways that you can introduce the evidence that you found. We highlighted the evidence, we copied, and we pasted it into our outline. You might have more than this, and that's okay. This is just a jumping off point. Here is a list of hooks. Hooks are the things that keep the person wanting to continue to read your essay. Try hard not to bore them to death. You can, some of them that I like are posing questions, saying, what would you do in this situation? Or what could one, you always want to try to avoid saying the word you or I. You want to act like a news reporter when you're writing an official essay for the FSA. With evidence, you are a news reporter, so the news reporters, if you pay attention, they never say you and they never say I. So if you're going to ask a question, you could say, what would one do if this happened? You use the word one and it always takes the place. You can usually rearrange it. You can put feelings in there. You can put bold statements in there. Background info is really good for evidence-based things. Announcements are okay, but there are more hooks again, and you'll learn about those as you go on. The other bit of prep work you need to do, and I'll show you how to do it, is you need to share your screen. I think that'll help. So this is how you're going to share your screen. Click up here in this gray area and drag. Okay? Click up here for your introduction and drag. It's easier if you had both of these open at the same time. And you don't have to get it perfect, but you try to make it fit your screen without, if I pull this down too far, it'll take over my screen. And I don't want to do that. But now I have them both open and I can reference them easily, and I can also copy and paste from them more easily now that they're both open. So you see I've started my introductory paragraph. This is day 1, so if it were me, I would make a goal on how much I plan to accomplish on day 1. What I plan to accomplish is the introduction, the paragraph number 2, which is my first body paragraph, and then paragraph number 3, which is my second body paragraph. That's a heavy goal because tomorrow then all I have to do is 1 body paragraph and 1 conclusion, but that also leaves me time to edit. So I always bite off a ton on day number 1, more than I would bite off on day number 2, because what happens if an emergency happens on day number 2, or if I have extra homework in another subject, it's smart to do the bulk of your work the first day. Moving on. What I have so far for my introduction says, for years, our citizens have experienced the comfort and help of service animals. A majority of these animals have been dogs. They are smart, easy to train, and sensitive to the needs of their owners. Now, we want to make sure we make reference to the question, the prompt. Put words from the prompt, but don't copy and paste the prompt. So it says service pets have been a part of our community. So you see how I'm borrowing ideas from the prompt, but I am not copying exact words. It's only recently that the concept of emotional support animals have come as well, using evidence. State your opinion as to whether emotional support animals should be allowed in private establishments, restaurants, blah, blah, blah. Consider all parties that interact with these pets. So go back to having both of these open. Remember, we did have extra facts. I put it in the conclusion. I could also borrow extra facts from my articles. Remember, we have those open. We want to make the introduction have, little glimpses towards the prompt, which I've done. I want to keep doing that, basically. So it says they are smart, easy to train, and sensitive to the needs of their owners. It is only in the last decade that our country has experienced an increase in the amount of emotional, I'm not going to capitalize that, but I might look it up later and see if it's supposed to be, emotional support animals. These are animals that help with issues such as depression, anxiety, and other mental health concerns. We could make reference to that soldier because he is somebody who really does need a mental health kind of dog. And if we were to make the rules harder on him, it would affect him. So I don't see him in my outline, but I'm going to look for him. I forget what article he was in. This one, I think, yeah. He's up here. Right. Okay. Randy Dexter is his name, and he was in the U.S. Army. Advocates fight against fake service dogs. The article by Peter Bowes. I can make reference to him. So, in the article by Peter Bowes, a soldier is referenced, period. He suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and is prescribed an emotional support dog. And I'm going to put E.S.A in parentheses, and now from now on, I can reference it as an ESA. I have to say animal then. Animal, period. Post-traumatic stress disorder and is prescribed an emotional support animal. This animal is trained to perform a task for the soldier. The dog places himself between Dexter, the soldier, and other people to ease the man's stress. And I try not to use his because both the dog and the soldier are boys. So if I said his, you wouldn't know if I was talking about easing the dog's stress or easing the man's stress. So now I'm stopping and I'm going to go back and reread. You want to do that periodically to make sure that you didn't put gobbledygook down, basically. Okay, so I'm just going to start here. These animals that help, these are animals that help with issues such as depression, anxiety, and other mental health concerns. In the article by Peter Bowes, a soldier is referenced. He suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and is prescribed an emotional support animal. This animal is trained to perform a task for the soldier. Now, I didn't explain that it was a dog yet, so that is confusing. The animal, I'm going to say the animal dash a dog dash places himself between Dexter, the soldier, and other people to ease the man's stress. This is a I'm going to put excellent, but I want a better word than that. An excellent example of a person using an emotional support animal correctly. There are many individuals, though, that take advantage of this sort of program. They shop online to purchase certification for their pet to become an ESA. This certification then allows the person to take their pet, free of charge on a plane or in a public establishment with, I want to say something like they can't get picked on or questioned, without question. When people take advantage of necessary programs, it keeps others who really need the help from, no, that doesn't sound good. I don't love that. I'm going to go back and reread and see if I like it. I can figure a better way. This animal is trained to perform a task for the soldier. The animal, a dog, places himself between Dexter, the soldier, and other people to ease the man's stress. This is an excellent example of a person using an emotional support animal correctly. There are, many individuals, though, that take advantage of this sort of program. They shop online to purchase certification for their pet to become an ESA. This certification then allows the person to take their pet free of charge on a plane or in a public establishment without question. Since this scam has become popular, it has caused the public to speak out against I accidentally erased what I wrote. Don't worry though. If you do something like I just did, come up here to the top and click undo to get it back. That's a good example of technological errors and how you can fix that. Since this scam has become popular, it has caused the public to speak out against A's. How does one fix this issue, though? Question mark. Do you penalize the soldier who really needs an ESA by tightening the rules and areas? An ESA, tightening the rules and restricting the areas an E.S.A can go, question mark. Or do you continue to allow regular citizens to bend the rules and bring pets to places where they once did not belong? Question mark. Okay, so I just did my introduction. That's the longest introduction I think I've ever written. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it took a little while to introduce that idea. And I didn't state my opinion yet. So I need to be aware that I did not do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do in my introduction, oh no, I didn't have any quotes for my introduction. Phew. thought I missed something. Now I've got easier to get service pet certification online in 2011. So I have these quotes that I want to try to use or reference, like Bo. I think I might even reference Bo first. Let's see, a transition statement for this guy. The problem of emotional support animals are being seen more and more frequently in public. It was once the case that we never saw animals sitting in fancy restaurants with or riding next to us in planes, period. It was the situation rarely, no, I can't use I. Rarely do you ever see a service dog in public. No, I used you. Rarely does one ever see a service dog in public. I'm glad you get to see me struggle with the words, so you know that if you struggle with it, it's okay. Emotional support animals are being seen more and more frequently in public. It was once the case that we never saw animals sitting in fancy restaurants or riding next to us in planes. Why is that? Question mark. So here I am trying to engage the reader, hook them by asking the reader that question. If they had fallen asleep for this long paragraph, hopefully I got their attention back by asking them a question. Okay. Well, I don't want to give away all my reasons because health is paragraph number 2. Why is that? Maybe I need to do this and make this paragraph number 3. I'm going to try that. Something to be aware of is my transition statements that I have here in your course. So let's try this one and see if it's any help. I want to open up expository and opinion transitions and see if it inspires me. I do have to be patient if I'm going to do that, though. Promise it's happening. There we go. Okay. So we want to say something to illustrate this. How about to illustrate this? If you copy this, right click. No, I have to enable editing before I do that. Let's see, to illustrate this, right click, copy, go back to where I was. If you're going to paste it, you want to do this one at the end where it doesn't bring over the size of the text. Okay, to illustrate this issue, problem, I'm going to talk about Bo. And he was in the AF article. I think it's this one. Peter Bowes wrote about Bo. Paid $150 from a website. She feels guilty about cheating the system. I'm reading the most important parts that I might want to reference, but I don't want to have this page open when I write it because I fear that I might steal the exact words, and I don't want to do that. I can steal some exact words, but I want to rearrange the sentence and say it my own way. that mine isn't fully certified. And I know that mine isn't fully certified. I know he's fine, but I don't know if some other dogs are going to freak out. She feels guilty, but adds that she has a number of friends who behave the same way. These dogs are not machines. Erin, who's not disabled, travels with her dog because she cannot bear to leave him alone. It's just, she likes having her dog there, so that's why she does it. Just to illustrate this issue, Peter Bowes writes about Bo, the dog, and his owner, I think it was Erin. It's okay to go back and check. Erin. Peter Bowes writes about Bo, the dog, and his owner, Erin. She is not disabled. She, in fact, she is fine. This pet owner, I don't want to keep saying she or Erin. I want to do a variety of ways to refer to her. This pet owner paid $150 to certify Bo as an ESA on a website. She is now able to take Bo on a plane with her because she cannot bear to travel without him. Why is this underlined? Okay. Weird. In the article, Erin explains that she feels bad about cheating the system, but knows that many of her friends do the same thing. To illustrate this issue, Peter Bowes writes about Bo, the dog, and his owner, Erin. She's not disabled. In fact, she is fine. This pet owner paid $150 to certify Bo as an ESA on a website. She is now able to take Bo on a plane. I'm going to put comma, free of charge. Because you do have to, if I wanted to take Lopez, I'd have to pay for him to go because he's not my ESA. With her, because she cannot bear to travel without him. In the article, she explains she feels bad about cheating the system, but knows that many of her friends do the same thing. So I'm going to cross him off because I've already referenced him in my article. That's one piece of evidence. They do want you to balance your evidence with your own opinion. So next I need to put my own opinion. Darn it. Maybe if I make this a little bit bigger. There it is. Cross that off. Okay. So now I have talking about how much it costs, and I have increased number of them that I want to try to add to this paragraph as evidence. Erin is one of many examples. Erin is one of many examples. Erin is one of many examples of people taking advantage. I'm doing of a lot, and I don't like that. This is one example of many. The system that was put in place to help the disabled is now being taken advantage of. I don't know if that sounds right. I can rearrange it later if I want to. The system that was put in place to help the disabled is now being taken advantage of. You're not really supposed to put of at the end of what you. I'm leaving it for right now. I will edit it if I think of it. The system that was put in place to help the disabled is now being taken advantage of. In fact, comma, this was from the PA article. Which one's this? This is the SA article. This is the PA article. Patricia Marks. I'll just, in the pets, allowed article, I can call it. In fact, Patricia Marks explains that, no, in fact, in the article titled, Pets Allowed, we're going to say the National Service Animal Registry sold. In fact, the article titled Pets Allowed explains that the National Service Animal Registry sold 2,400 emotional support animal certifications. 2,400 certified instead of sold. How about we say that? Certified 2,400 emotional support animals in 2011. The commercial enterprise certified 11,000 last year. Oopsie daisy. Last year. Now this is where I'm trying to balance my evidence with my opinions and my commentary. They want you to have some evidence, then some opinions. They don't want you to have all evidence. That is an incredible increase in the amount of ESAs. Why is that? Does the American public, suddenly acquire an increase in mental illness? Or did the word spread that certifying your pet is very easy and comes with a list of advantages? So I've already used this one. Cross that off. So now we've got how much it costs. One cannot be 100% oopsie daisy, percent sure. It is true though, according to the article Pets Allowed, it is true. Okay, how about we fix this, because I don't love the way I did this. Get rid of all this. According to the article Pets Allowed, it only costs between $70 and $200 dun 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 to certify your pet certify your pet using one of several organizations that are not recognized by the government. And I might want to rearrange that because I stole recognized. I'm going to double click on it, right click on it, and then do synonym and see what I got. Standard, predictable, renowned, accepted, acknowledged by the government. Yeah, let's do acknowledged. Just saying, like, they didn't give them any sort of training to give out the certifications. It was just a company that popped up and decided to give out certifications. Okay, cross that off. Now I'm done, but I'm not done because that's not, I need to finish the paragraph so it sounds like it's finished. I don't want to just leave it hanging like that. It seems as though the increase in ESAs is a symptom of a system that has made the certification too easy. Service dogs were infrequently seen 10 or more years ago because it was hard to train a dog. It was hard work or lots or expensive to train a dog in order to earn the privilege of taking that dog into a public place. Now, using online organizations, people buy that privilege for an inexpensive price. Need to fix this. So I have one more paragraph left, and then I can call it quits for the day and try again tomorrow with the last two paragraphs. Okay, emotional support animals are being seen more and more frequently in public. It was once the case that we never saw animals sitting in fancy restaurants or riding next to us in planes. Why is that? All right, so we will tell the answer. There are many reasons. Health is one of them, and behavior. There are, but instead of that, we'll say various reasons. Health is one of them, and behavior is another, period. Didn't I have a quote about the operating room? Health. Okay, let's see. I see. I see. I might have accidentally combined these two paragraphs because I didn't understand it, but still I think it'll be okay. Health is another. If the public was allowed to buy their dogs admission into any restaurant or any common area, there would be far too many animals in places that are supposed to be clean and orderly. In fact, I want to put the part about service animals. Trained service animals are not allowed in burn units or operating rooms according to the SA. What's that one called? Service animals article. According to the service animals article. Regardless of how much it helps the patient, they are not permitted in those rooms. This is because it would be harmful to the health of the patients in the rooms. A case can be made to say that emotional support animals are harmful to the health of restaurant goers and plane, I don't want to say riders, and riders of planes. If no rules are set to keep, I want to say the idea that you can only have so many dogs in one small space. Rules are set to keep the number of pets. That's getting to be a long sentence. A case can be made to say that emotional support animals are harmful to the health of restaurant goers and riders of planes. Period. Rules should be set to keep the number of animals low in common spaces where the public goes, comma, especially places where food is served, period. Okay, so I talked about this one up here. We can cross it off. Am I missing? Real source animals are treated differently based on service dog fraud. So this I might need to rearrange and put in my conclusion. Or I might not need it. I'm doing about 2 or 3 per paragraph, so it's not a giant deal if I don't have it all. Even with a card, it is against the law. Health code to take animals into restaurants. Even with a card, it is against the law in violation of the city's health code to take animals into restaurants. Okay, now I'm just going to go into behavior because I think that that's stronger. Another concern is animals' behavior. There is a fundamental difference between service dogs and emotional support animals, period. And I think I put that difference under legal. Only dogs whose sole function is to provide. Dogs whose sole function is to provide comfort or emotional support do not qualify as service dogs under the ADA. The service animals article explains that if a dog, and I'm trying not to steal the words exactly, because if you steal the words exactly, you have to write it down differently and quote it. And if you want to learn that, send me a message and I'll tell you how to do that. The service animals article explains that if a dog's sole purpose is to provide emotional comfort for its owner, it does not qualify as a service animal. Service animal. Therefore, comma, ESAs are not really allowed to go in places where service animals are allowed. This bit of knowledge is not common, and therefore most people do not question when they see a dog on a plane or sitting in a fancy restaurant. Okay. cross that off because I used that bit. And no, you don't have to use everything. If you've made your case and you've finished off the paragraph without needing all those quotes, you don't need them. That's fine. Right click. Okay. I think I want to use that part. Ask about the person's disability, require medical documentation, require a special identification card, training, or ask a dog to demonstrate its work task. I don't know if I actually made that behavior point. Let me go back. Another concern is the animal's behavior. There is a fundamental difference between service dogs and emotional support animals. The service animals article explains that if a dog's sole purpose is to provide emotional comfort for its owner, it is not qualified as a service animal. Therefore, ESAs are not really allowed to go in places. So I really didn't make that point. Another concern is blah, blah, blah. Let me fix that. E period, S period, A's are not trained necessarily. Service animals are trained. I'm going to talk about truffles. The Pets Allowed article tells about the problem that this can cause. The author, comma, is this Pets Allowed? Nope. Which one's Pets Allowed? Patricia Marks. The author, Patricia Marks, comma, tells about a horrendous situation that arose on a plane, period. Truffles, an ESA, defecated. We'll try to use I believe that's what happened. The dog pooped on the plane. We find Truffles. Truffles, US Airways, 3,500 feet, squatted in the aisle, and according to Chris Law, a passenger tweeted, did what dogs do. After the second HEM installment, the crew ran out of detergent and paper towels wipes. Emergency landing. They were all getting sick. Okay. Sir tells about a horrendous situation that arose on a plane. Truffles, an ESA, defecated twice while flying while taking a flight with his owner, period. Service dog, I don't know that, so I'm not going to say that. This untrained ESA caused an emergency landing because other passengers were becoming sick after he relieved himself twice. This is this issue, this behavioral issue will become more and more troubling as ESAs are seen flying in confined spaces more and more frequently, period. There is, and then that kind of bridges nicely into the idea that there's a difference between service animals and ESAs. Okay, so I talked about Truffles. Cross him off. Wearing service who are not trained. The behavior of an untrained dog in a small or more upscale environment does change. I don't know if that needs to be there. This is a bit of knowledge that's not commonly known, and therefore most people do not question when they see a dog on a plane or sitting in a fancy restaurant. The behavior of an untrained dog in a smaller, more upscale environment does affect the people around that dog, period. With more and more people, with more and more citizens, we don't want to keep repeating ourselves, taking advantage of this ESA scam, we will see more animals wearing vests in public, but behaving as animals do. The consequences of this are something like innumerable, uncounted, could be of this, could be, I'm going to say terrible, but I'm sure there's a better word than that. All right, so I'd say that's done. I've borrowed quite a bit. I'm going to move on to the legal paragraph and then the conclusion paragraph tomorrow. I'm going to say File, Save As, Computer. I'm going to save it in my essay folder that's on my desktop, and we're going to call that ESA Rough Draft Parodi, my last name. You can turn this in because you're allowed to turn in multiple copies. I'm not forcing you to turn this in. You are allowed to turn in like 5 files here. So if you want to click Add Submission, go down to the bottom and browse desktop, or we could do recent places. Is essays on here? Yep. And then ESA rough draft and click open and upload. We wait ever so patiently for it to upload. And I do want to add a note saying that this is just day 1. I attached day 1, oh wait, day 2. I will finish it on day 3. And the only reason that I recommend that you turn in this work halfway done is if your computer dies and you lose it. That was a super long essay and a very long video, so I do apologize for the video being so long, but if you turn it in to me, then I have a copy of it, okay? So I recommend turning it in. If you have any questions, please let me know.